Hi there, and welcome to this week's Wheel and Anchor newsletter. I'm delighted to be coming to you from the rather interesting and quite spectacularly beautiful city of Havana, Cuba. You can hear behind me the typical sort of Cuban Latin jazz music going on. We've just completed 5 days here with a small group of Wheel and Anchor members who came down for our first Wheel and Anchor weekend. And I can say, and you'll see in the short clip following, that we've had a marvelous time. We've really gotten a sense of what Cuba, what Havana is all about. In fact, the city has just celebrated its 500th anniversary. They had this incredible display of fireworks over the seafront, over the harbor, and it was truly, truly incredible. You know, one thing about Havana, we don't know much about this city. For those of us that have never been to Cuba before, and specifically to Havana, is that there is a lot more to it than you know what you read about. Most of us relate to Cuba as the place, you know, that we go for a beach holiday. You head down to Varadero or Holguin or one of these other places, and you know you head into an all-inclusive resort for $499 for the week. But there's much more to Cuba than that. We also get the influence of American media, which of course is currently under the current administration in the U.S. has a very negative view on Cuba, and we heard a lot from local Cubans about what that's all about and what the economic embargo has meant to them, and so it's again been an incredible learning experience. I think one thing that's really critical to know is that Cuba actually is not doesn't consider itself a communist country, but rather a socialist country, the country that's led by a communist party in government, but they're really committed to this notion of socialism that, of course, is something that our friends down to the south don't quite wrap their heads around. So, one of the other things that we often think about Cuba, particularly for those who again been to these seaside resorts, is about the food and how bad it is. But I can tell you, we've had some of the most incredible meals here in Havana. And we've all been quite pleasantly surprised by the variety and the flavors that come out. It's been amazing. So have a quick look now at a little ride that our group took, and one of the other stops that we made along the way. The big Wheel and Anchor wave. Wave. Everybody look at the camera and say, "Yay, Havana! Yay, Havana!"
This is a great theater of Havana. The Great Theater of Havana.
And another one of the places we visit here in beautiful Havana is this artist retreat called Fusterlandia, started by a rather eccentric Cuban artist who imported all these tiles from all over the world and created this rather odd residence for himself, and now a museum and one of the must-see stops in Havana. Part of every trip to Havana has to include a stop at the world-famous Tropicana Club. Let the show begin. Well, we certainly enjoyed that show. In fact, we had a great time in Havana, making some new friends, seeing some great sights, and drinking some fantastic mojitos and pina coladas. So that trip came to a close. I now find myself on the next segment of my journey. I'm here in Shanghai's Pudong Airport with just a couple of other short announcements that we have 2 webinars coming up in the next couple of weeks, introducing our next Wheel and Anchor weekend to Panama. And the webinar is on Thursday, November the 26th, and we'll be doing a follow-up to our Azores webinar on December the 3rd. We've had an incredible demand, incredible interest in that program, so with all the questions that have come in, I thought it would be appropriate to have yet another webinar. So, as usual, I wish you all happy travels, and I'll sign off here from Shanghai, China, and catch you again next week.